I'm Christine Brookins with Connecting Our Community, and today I'm at ARC Washington County. I am speaking with Craig Douglas, the Chief Administrative Officer of ARC Human Services, and Travis Feim, the Program Systems Coordinator for ARC. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm really excited because what we're going to talk about right now is technology, assistive technology, and then just using technology in the community. So can you start by telling me a little bit about the efforts that you have toward the technology and use of it?
Yeah, we're super excited about it too. It's a real opportunity for us, especially for people with different abilities, to enable them to live their best life. We see it as a powerful tool that can help not only the people that we support live their best life, but help our staff deliver better services to people. So it's really a great opportunity for us, just like you and I use technology every day, to find ways that we can engage and offer technology to the people and families we support.
I love it. And Travis, can you tell me a little bit about the specific efforts that you have around technology here at ARC?
Oh yeah, we have quite a few different technology initiatives. One of our more recent endeavors, we are exploring medication dispensers for folks that we support.
That's huge.
It's really a great method for folks that we support to gain a little bit more of that everyday independence that you and I get to enjoy every single day.
Sure. So med administration, I'm sure that looks different for every consumer. And then I understand you also have some really big plans going on. Craig, do you want to mention what some of that is?
Yeah, so we part of our strategy has been sort of three pieces that we've been really excited about rolling out. So the first is we've opened a technology library here in our Canonsburg office. And that library is really a place for people to get kind of used to seeing technology. They can touch it, they can feel it, they can learn a little bit about what's out there. We are also building a smart classroom. The smart classroom is an opportunity for us to teach people how to use technology, everyday technology off the shelf, and some of the more fancy stuff like automatic stove shutoffs and remote support type technologies that can help them live every day. So the Smart Classroom is a place for them to learn how to use that technology. And then we have a Smart Living House that we have right over here in Peters Township that is a place where people, almost like an Airbnb, where people can go and try it out for a couple of days.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to get on that list. I want to see
Absolutely.
it.
We're hopeful that we'll be able to open the tech house starting sometime early this spring. So stay tuned for more details on that.
So Travis, you mentioned
Yes.
the med administration, and I'm
Yes.
sure just like anybody else, that's got to look very unique for each person.
Very much
What
so.
types of things do you look at and offer in those situations?
So it really, as you had mentioned, it comes down to the person, their comfortability, where they're at with their particular journey through their life, working at different skills such as medication administration. So what we do is we do basically an assessment for the person, get to talk to them a little bit, get to know them, get to figure out what some of their strengths and weaknesses may be.
Okay.
And then we can tailor some of the different options we have for medication dispensers specifically to that person.
That's really important, though.
Very.
Anything that can add to the independence is going to be huge.
Absolutely.
And then one of the things I heard mention is the off the shelf. So, Craig, can you tell me what you mean by that?
Yeah, so back maybe even up to 10 years ago, getting a smart home was like $1 million investment for people, right?
Sure.
There was a lot of expensive things that on the market you had to go and buy to set your house up to be sort of smart and learn how to use these devices every day. But now, because of the advancements in technology, we can do almost the same things that you can get in a fancy smart house with an Amazon Alexa device or a Google device or some of the Nest cameras. There's a lot of things that we can get right on Amazon that remove those barriers, some of those cost barriers from keeping people from trying different routines and things that can promote even just a little more independence each day.
And I love hearing that because in my mind, I'm thinking years ago and my kids watching shows on television that it was like fantasy.
Right.
And that all the things that you just mentioned are things that many of us have in our homes already. It's how can you leverage that technology to help the person that might not otherwise have that independence. So how would you do that, Travis? Like just thinking, we heard about Amazon Alexa. How
Sure.
does that help someone with their independence?
It can help in a variety of different ways. There are a lot of different routines you can program, and we had mentioned Alexa, but this is typically available on your Google devices. Anything where you have a voice assistant, you can program in different routines. So, for example, if somebody has a favorite recipe that they like to make, but they're not quite sure where all of the ingredients in their cupboards may be, you can speak to the device and say, "Hey Alexa, I'd like to make," and I'm just going to say macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
And then you can have it programmed to light up these little light strips that will point you directly to the cupboard that
Wow.
you need to go to get your box of mac and cheese, to get your milk, to whatever ingredients for that recipe that you're making.
I might need that myself. Just to find the things that I already have. So that's really cool that you can do that, and it would help anybody. I'm just trying to think what other types of things we would want to leverage. So meds, the recipes, I imagine any of us today can already turn on lights and turn off lights. What other types of things might one try to control with these devices that, as you mentioned, Craig, 10 years ago might have been a really expensive endeavor? What are some of the things we do?
Some of them could be really simple things that to us we may take for granted, but may be really humiliating to a person supported, right? So let's say you have a person with a disability who is struggling with incontinence, having accidents at night. We can set these devices to set an alarm that gets a person up. We can create light strips that lead them to the bathroom so that they can preserve some of their dignity while they're also learning to use and maybe help control some of these things that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. We can use applications on mobile devices, and iPads are also super powerful to give people little bits of independence. So this can be everything from a guided routine on remembering how to brush your teeth instead of having a staff tell you to do that, or it could be a Nest or a Ring device that gives somebody time to go out and sit on their front porch so that they don't have a staff breathing down their neck all the time. So these are ways that we can use these devices to match people's goals that they might not otherwise even know are open to them.
That's awesome. I'm thinking the independence, the keeping on a schedule, the watched without being watched kind of thing. I just, all those things that you just said to me, I can really see that adding to somebody's independence. So those are all things that many homes have, those Ring devices or Nest devices. And I think you mentioned a smartphone, so probably the predominance of those of us out in society have a smartphone. Travis, what are some of the things that we might use the smartphone to do that, hey, we're all carrying around the phone anyhow?
I mean, there are a ton of different options. There are different phones out there. Like I believe we had mentioned earlier when we were talking, the Guardian phone. It's a phone that allows a little bit more of control on the back end for somebody who may not have the necessary skills yet to safely communicate with everybody just openly. So you can set secure texting lists so they can text friends, families, loved ones, support staff, things along those lines.
I like that idea, though, because it's the same phone anyone else would have.
Yes.
With those guide rails, and you're not telling someone they can't do something, you're just making sure they're safe in doing it.
100%.
I really like that idea. And it seems so simple. I'm sure there's settings on all of our phones that we could establish for that. All right, so we're talking about some really cool stuff, and you mentioned off the shelf, but I don't want it to be something that's unattainable. So what does funding look like for these? Is it going to be something that's covered by health insurance? Is there other funding available? What does that look like?
So that's really interesting for us right now. That's evolving as technology has been evolving in the way that the state has been looking at some of these benefits especially for people with different abilities. So there are a lot of different options out there right now. So you heard Travis talk a little bit about medication dispensers. One of the options we've been looking at is trying to get that covered by people's health insurance through durable medical equipment. If we can show that the medical team sees this as an opportunity to improve health and wellness and improve independence, there's an opportunity for us to get those covered by the third-party insurance. If you have waiver funding, let's say you have a consolidated waiver, there are opportunities for us to explore getting some of these devices funded through assistive technology services.
Okay.
And that's a benefit that's offered to everybody. One of the challenges right now is that there's a $10,000 lifetime cap on those. So we're really working with the state right now to sort of look at opportunities to sort of adjust that and see how we can remove those barriers. If you're a person that needs a really expensive piece of communication equipment, maybe that's what is best to get covered by your waiver. But we really don't want that to be a barrier for you to get other devices as things evolve down the road. So it's a moving target for us, and we keep looking at opportunities and funding partnerships to address some of those barriers to prevent people from, so we don't prevent people from having access to these devices.
And I love that you mentioned the partnerships, because after all, connecting those resources is really what's so crucial. There are resources out there if we just tap into the correct ones for each person.
Exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Those are great ideas. So in your tech library,
Yes.
You have quite a lot of equipment, and it can almost be overwhelming. There's so many options.
Sure.
One of the things was around robotics. Tell me an example of something where we might use that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one simple thing, and people may or may not be aware of this already, is something as simple as a Roomba device. Something that we take for granted every day, the ability to get up, clean our house. Some of the folks that we support and are out there may not actually have that luxury or capability. So, something as simple as a Roomba, which as we were talking about earlier, that's something you can control with your Amazon Alexa devices, anything along those lines, to really help people that we support live an everyday normal life like you or I would every day.
I like that, because we might think of a Roomba as, hey, that's a luxury item, but if it gives a person the ability to independently clean their home that they might not otherwise be able to do, I like that. And yeah, I think we also can look at, if somebody else is assisting, why not have that somebody else assisting the person, and if the Roomba can be cleaning.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. I also saw some virtual reality type things.
Yeah, there's quite a few different options out there. So we have in our library right now, we have a couple of Oculus devices that we had acquired, as well as a set of augmented reality glasses. The Oculus glasses are pretty neat. They can be used in a variety of different settings that you may not think of. The first thing that comes in our mind is job training for folks who are looking for employment opportunities out in their community. It may be somebody who has some social anxiety about being around the public in a store. We can take these virtual reality glasses or augmented reality glasses and simulate that experience for them without them necessarily being in that environment, them being safe with staff around them, helping them to really come to terms with it and experience that in a safe and healthy way.
I like that, because you're trying it with those bumpers again, right? And you can possibly get to a point through the virtual that you then can go out into the real world to do that.
Absolutely.
I love that idea. That's awesome. I know we could go on and on with these things, but I really want to thank both of you for sharing this and for letting us know that you do have the technology lab and the smart devices, and that the smart home is coming.
Yes. Yeah, and stay tuned. We've got some great opportunities for people to check out the smart living home once we get that opened. It'll sort of serve like an Airbnb, so a lot of those what if concerns, we can sort of work with you head on to see and make sure that they are real, and we can kind of make the best use of staff and give people independence. So
I love that.
Keep in touch. We'd love to have you come back.
Oh, I would absolutely love to see the smart home. So add me to that list.
Absolutely.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's take a tour of the ARC Technology Library.
Up here we have our VR headsets. These are an incredibly useful tool for folks, for example, who are seeking employment. What is one of the scariest things about seeking new employment is interviewing with those, your new potential employer. What this allows us to do is set up a virtualized environment to where somebody that we support who may have anxiety issues or any other number of daily struggles really adapt to and overcome some of those worries by experiencing it in a safe and healthy environment for them. It's really been a fantastic tool that we've been utilizing here at our Human Services. So we actually have a few different kinds of headsets here. The first one that I will show you here is a regular VR set. Now I'll go ahead and put this on just to show you a little bit of what it looks like. Oh, you'll see the cover just fell off the front. But when that cover is off the front, it actually allows me to see the rest of the room around me. Like I can see the camera pointed at me right now. It's a very useful feature. And what we do with these is we have some different programs that we operate with them. Let me take these off here because it's getting a little warm there. But what we do with these is allow people with social anxiety to experience like a job interview, a party situation, something like that without there actually being other people in the room with them to help them overcome those fears and anxieties that they may be experiencing. The other kind of headset that we have here is a little bit smaller, and this is actually, it's not quite virtual reality, this is called augmented reality. And what these do is these will project things basically in front of you, like you're walking around, like your city. Almost think of it like a heads-up display on a car, but for your person. And what's really neat about these is, and let me take my glasses off here, put these on, is they pretty much look like just a regular pair of, say, your Ray-Ban sunglasses. But it does have, there's a heads-up display essentially that is in the glasses themselves. And what this would allow you to do, for example, say you're walking around in unfamiliar territory, you have these glasses connected to your phone, and it can give you real live-time directions with arrows pointing to the direction that you need to go to get to whatever destination you're trying to reach. And that is very helpful for the folks that we support as well as anybody else in the community, because it helps them to maintain self-awareness and safety of those around them. Another useful tool that we've been utilizing here at our Human Services based around technology are medication dispensers. These are a wonderful tool that can help folks achieve a level of independence that they might not have had in their life before. More than likely the folks that, and just as we are talking, the Hero device here is going off. All of these devices give auditory alarms for whenever it is time to take your medication. And for the Hero device here, it's pretty simple. It says right now, time to take your 1:20 p.m. dose. All you have to do is hit this big button in the center. And as you can see, I'm having a little bit of struggles here getting this in. There is a passcode that is set on the device, and I just happened to forget what I set that passcode to as. So it has a lot of safety features that are built in so that the people that you support or the loved ones that you care about really get the highest level of support and care that are offered. All of these devices, like the Hero, the MedMinder, the MediCube, offer alerts to caregivers, support members. So, since I'm unable to take my medication here, in about 30 minutes, the person I have set up as the caregiver for this is going to get an alert sent straight to their phone saying, hey, Travis hasn't taken his 1:20 p.m. med yet. Let's check in with him and see what's going on. So we've talked about the Hero device some. We also have the MedMinder device. This device looks a little bit different. It kind of looks like a laptop. And functions similarly to a calendar. There are the days a week across the top and then 4 rows along the side. This one, again, works a little bit differently. You'll see all the pills are laid out there in front of you. And whenever it's time to take a pill from a MedMinder, the compartment that you're supposed to take the pill from will start flashing as your first alert. So it's, say you have somebody that you're supporting, or even yourself, that have some auditory issues. You don't like loud sounds, whatever it may be. The first alarm on this device is just a visual blinking light. So that's your first notification that it's time to take your medication. But 30 minutes after that, it will give an auditory alarm, whether that's, if you can't see the light from wherever you're at in the house, whatever it might be, to help remind caregivers, staff members, whatever it may be, that it's time to take that medication. And some of the differences between these two devices are the MedMinder is actually, and this is how we utilize this with our partnered pharmacy, is we can get pill packs that come in a pretty much think of it like the size of a sheet of paper, that have all of your meds for each time you're supposed to take them already just pre-dispensed in these little cups. So there's no worrying about, did I get all the medications? Did I miss one? Did I forget one? All the ones you're supposed to take at that time are preloaded into that little pillow pack. Now the Hero, however, may be more appropriate if you get your pills through a pharmacy and you just get them in a pill bottle, because it's really easy to just take the key out of the back, open it up, and then pour the pill bottle into the little container. It's slightly different than this, but both work just as effectively as the other. So these are our two primary medication dispensers that we like to utilize here. We have two others, the Medicube and MedReady. MedReady is a super cheap alternative that you can buy just directly off of Amazon, usually no more than $90, $100, but it's a little more low-tech than a lot of the stuff that we utilize. And then the Medicube is pretty much a cube version of the Hero, so they work very similarly. All your pills get dispensed into a little cup, and then you take the pills and you're done. So up next, we have some alternative or augmentative communication devices that we use to help people communicate in a healthy, safe, and effective manner. You may or may not have heard of a PEC board before, but this is sort of a medium tech version of a PEC board. And as you can see, there are different pictures along the side here, or along the rows here, and each one of these pictures has a different saying that has been recorded for somebody who may not be able to verbally communicate. So the first one we have here, if I press this button,
good.
Is good.
Happy.
Happy.
Sad.
Sad. And we've got some others, like this one.
Need staff.
So if somebody needs their staff, they can press that button.
Need police.
Again, if they need the police. This one down here, if they're thirsty, they press the button and it verbalizes the word drink for them. For those who are unable to verbalize what they want to communicate with the world, these are an incredibly effective tool. And these GoTalk 32s have 5 different profiles on them that you can load up. So as you can see, there are 20 buttons along here. So if we have 5 different profiles with 20 buttons, that gives us 100 different options for sayings, phrases, whatever it may be. And these 3 up at the top here, so we have these set to staff, police, and doctor, are available no matter which profile that you're currently selected on. So if there are very important things that need to be said no matter which profile you're on, set them to these buttons up here and you'll be ready to rock and roll.